My name is Stuart Hall and my job title is Lead Infrastructure Engineer. Tearfund is an international aid and development agency based here in the UK. The key challenges we faced with our legacy infrastructure is simply being a three-tier architecture. We just simply couldn't get it to go quick enough. It was not enough having the best blades and the best SAN. It just simply didn't go quick enough because the storage was accessed over networks and the networks themselves didn't go fast enough. And what we found is that most of the time the processors were waiting for data, and that was never efficient. Our sphere of influence is global. We're currently active in 43 countries, some of which are embargoed. The common denominator against them all is that they are all in a state of poverty and therefore unsustainable. We are an information-led organisation, and simply we live in reports, and if you can't run them often enough then you can't make good agile decisions. We're not that dissimilar to a law firm, I suppose. We run everything from printing through to financials, through to file serving, through to application and web delivery. The limitations of the old system was primarily it was end of life. The hardware was old and very unreliable. We wanted to be best of breed, we wanted to build on our Hyper-V legacy, but more importantly we wanted to give the business what they wanted, which was more reporting more often. Our journey with HyperGrid started way back in October 2014 when we started looking at the market. Hyperconvergence was relatively new to the market, but very quickly, looking at the architecture of what it was trying to deliver, it was clearly obvious that it was going to be the way forward and equally the answer to what Tearfund needed to achieve. We didn't know who the players were. A small amount of internet research identified there were two players in the Hyper-V space, HyperGrid and Nutanix, and we engaged with both of them and actually worked towards a proof of concept. Since Tearfund has engaged with HyperGrid, we have found them and their support of us to be not just world-class, but so much better than we could have ever expected. Everybody from pre-sales through to the very top of the organisation has been actively interested in the work of Tearfund and has moved heaven and earth to actually make this a successful project. We are totally indebted to HyperGrid. Technical expertise that they brought to the pre-sales process, the responsiveness of the account management team, and the move towards a successful proof of concept was just world class. Primarily the applications where we've seen the best improvement is, without a shadow of a doubt, anything that was SQL based, and here we're thinking primarily our reporting structures. The ability to do ad hoc rather than scheduled reporting has massively impacted the business. Since we've moved to HyperGrid, we've seen efficiencies and savings on a number of levels. Interestingly, on the green credential perspective, we've managed to save a lot of electricity. We've dropped from 22 kilowatts per hour down to 2.2, a tenfold decrease, which in real terms means we pay for our new system in about 3 years just on that saving alone. From a manpower perspective, we no longer need 4 full-time engineers. We've dropped that down to 1, which, looked at it another way, pays for our system in around about 3 to 4 years, so we've still got a system for free. But more importantly, we are not having to re-engineer our processes and procedures. Tearfund has deployed the HyperCloud platform from HyperGrid, and it has proved to be a great success. Since we've deployed HyperGrid, we've achieved a number of benefits. I suppose from an IT perspective is that we now run our estate very efficiently with the utilisation that we would never dream of, and we quite happily run 80% CPU with no strain. We couldn't dream of getting anywhere near that with our previous architecture. But from a business perspective, the gains have been that we make agile decisions now based on information and data in a real-time scenario now. So we're making great decisions, and these are having a massive impact on our work on the ground. The other benefit is that we are not wrestling with our IT anymore.